I made $10,000 on the side while I was still working full-time job and starting a family, and you can too. My side hustle was reselling on eBay and Facebook Marketplace. I could go over some of the best sales and items that I had, if that's able to help. But it's really the concept and ideas behind getting these types of sales, because chances are you're not going to find the exact same items I did at the same exact prices. So I'm going to go over the 5 steps within this video. I'll leave timestamps if you want to jump into each section. First one is where I started making money. Second one is what items helped me make this money. Number 3 is how quick these items took to actually sell. Number 4 is how often you have to be doing this to be successful. And number 5, how much money it actually took to start. And at the end, we'll even go over some obstacles to avoid that I learned while doing this. Number 1 is where did I start making money? So where I was finding the items was either garage sales, Goodwills, thrift stores, Facebook Marketplace. Heck, I even found a couple things on eBay itself. I like garage sales and Facebook Marketplace the best because you could actually negotiate with them. You can bundle if they got a bunch of different items that you're interested in. And on Marketplace, you could actually look at the item, see if it's a deal, then you would go and leave your house. When you're going to thrift stores, you're just hoping that you find something there. And sometimes you don't. Key is consistency. Then obviously from there, you would then list it back on eBay. You could look at some other people's listings that have actually sold. Go to like, hey, I want to sell like the same thing. And then just use your pictures. We'll probably touch on a couple of these things later. But eBay does have, for I think most items, last time I checked, was around 13.25% fees. Which is also why I didn't only focus on eBay, but also Facebook Marketplace. Heck, sometimes you buy off of Facebook Marketplace and then just relist it back on the same platform. Number 2 are what were my best items sold. There's a bunch of different categories, but this is just what worked for me. I sold a lot of video games, shoes, electronics, Legos, and toys. Those usually had great margins. Sold some clothes, but margin, you gotta find the right stuff. And I think what could help is something that you're already interested or knowledgeable about. So because I was always a gamer as a kid and aware of video games, I just knew of them already. Or things to simply look up, like certain electronics or shoes. You could look on like the back or inside the tongue of the shoe. There's a number. You just type in the number on eBay and you could pull up what the actual product is. Instead of you're just looking at it and you're like, I don't even know what this is. You could use Google Images. You could just like take a picture of it and Google will tell you like what it actually is. It sometimes has listings to eBay and you could kind of do more research from there. Number 3 is how quick did it take these items to sell? And what's really, really important to this is obviously every item is different. So you have to look at the sell-through rate. So you have to look at how many items are listed versus how many items are sold. So if you're looking at one item and there's 1,000 listings but 5 sold, obviously it's not that popular. But if there's 500 listed and 1,000 sold, it's pretty popular. And chances are you're going to sell it. Heck, you might not even know what it is or what it does, but you could see the sell-through and it is selling. Use that to your advantage. And you look at the sold price. Anyone could list anything for any amount. So these popular items could obviously sell quicker, could sell the same day, could sell over a weekend. Number 4 is how often can you be doing this? For me personally, I went to these places to buy items every single week. Like every single weekend I went to garage sales, and at least once, maybe twice during the week, I also went for thrift stores and constantly on the lookout on Facebook Marketplace. I've sold over like 1,000, maybe 1,100 items on eBay. So I definitely sold more there versus Marketplace. So to get more sales on eBay would be listing more on eBay. To list more on eBay, that means you have to find items so that you can list it. So to find more items, you gotta source more. So I learned consistently finding them, consistently listing them, leads to consistently selling them. So like a quick example, if you have 7 items, you shouldn't list all 7 items on the same day. You should space out one item throughout the week, so you're constantly listing. Number 5 is how much money do you need to start? And for me personally, I remember my first item that I bought, it was $10. It was actually 2 Guitar Hero guitars, and I sold one of them for like $80 over a weekend. At that point, I was hooked, and it showed me that you can start for a very small amount, and sometimes even for free. You just gotta keep an eye out, look around, because some people list things for free. One item that I'll never forget, it was like some old Macintosh computer. It was from like an old math professor. He had it for years, probably decades, and he wasn't using it anymore. So I ended up taking it. There was a lot of people interested. I went there as soon as I saw that it was listed. Played around with it for a bit. It was pretty cool, but then I eventually listed it. I think I got over $200 or $300 for it. Might have been like $260 maybe, but that was a crazy flip. So the returns are much larger than like stocks, for example. Like if you invest $1,000 into a stock and you get a 10% return over a year, that's like $100, and it took you a year to get it. Obviously, compound interest is important, but you could find something for like $20 and sell it for $120, and you just made that $100 in one flip compared to stocks. So let's talk about some things to avoid. Watch out for your feelings, because something might seem cool to you or nostalgic to you, but purely look at the numbers. Look at how much it cost, look how much you could sell it for, look at the sell-through rate, and if there's an actual profit. If you can't make much money on it, don't buy it. I don't care how cool it is. Unless you want to add it to your own collection, that's separate. Another thing to avoid is high shipping costs, because it just went through another rate increase for shipping recently. So that's why I go through Pirate Ship. They usually give me pretty good shipping costs. But something to be aware of, which I learned way too late into doing this, is you could literally put the exact weight of the item, the exact dimensions of the item, and eBay does like an estimated calculating of the shipping. And that's usually a couple dollars, or depending on the item, but it's more than what you may actually pay for it. Now, having a little spread between that is fine to actually cover your shipping costs, but like eBay might be charging shipping for $10 when you could ship it for $5. It's almost double. So when people are looking for the item that you have, yet your price might be competitive, but the shipping is just making people like, I'm not gonna buy it. So be aware of that. Maybe drop the weight or drop the dimensions. You gotta kind of do it more to understand what the shipping would be. But I remember I did that. The shipping cost was a lot higher than others, so that made a lot of my items just sit longer than they should have. Another thing to avoid, kind of an obvious one, but is bad ratings. Make sure, 1, you ship quick and on time, and 2, you package well. You don't want something breaking and then it arrives and the person's like, what the heck? And it stinks, because you could sell like 99 items and you're doing great, but then it just takes one bad shipping, someone leaves a bad review, and it affects you. And if you only do that a couple times, you might not mean it, but you gotta make sure it's packaged properly. But a far majority of my good reviews is literally just fast shipping. So I usually ship it like the next day they buy it. The last thing to avoid to be aware of are the fees. You can't always avoid fees, but like we mentioned before, eBay, I think average fee is 13.25%, which is also why I do Facebook Marketplace. Like I sell video game consoles or like bundles on Marketplace, because they're popular enough. Video games are going to sell, and I don't have to deal with any fees. I don't have to deal with any shipping. But also taxes. When I first started this and started talking to an accountant, I started learning about tax write-offs. So you could write off a bunch of business expenses. Be aware of what you can write off, whether it's any type of office expense, shipping costs, mileage on your car, insurance, internet, phone. I remember the first time I talked to my accountant, I said it was cool that I was doing something on the side, but self-employment tax was like 40%. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? So you have to maximize your tax write-offs to get the most benefits. So hopefully these tips gave you a couple of good ideas to help you start making money on the side. And heck, you could even start selling your own stuff that you already have in your house, in your apartment, attic, basement, wherever, to start making extra money. Like selling your own stuff, we had our first son, he's 2, and we're about to have a daughter. So we were starting to get rid of some old clothes for my son. We ended up making like over $200 on clothes. Especially if you're starting a family like I was trying to maximize as much space as we could. And that's a good way to start. If you say you don't have any extra money, start with selling your own stuff that you're not using. If you're looking to learn more about money and finance, and you're starting or growing a family and you want to be like a backbone or a foundation for them, that's what I'm trying to do. So, hope you consider subscribing. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.